basically compass classes. Describe the various causes and effects of landslides. Mention the important components of the landslide management, landslide risk management strategy. Describe the various causes and the effects of landslides. So what this question wants to know? I think it's a pretty straightforward question.
Yes, sir. First, we have to define landslide.
Yeah.
Then what are the various causes which led to landslides? And
Yeah.
then we will.
Yes, go ahead. You're right. So intro, then you will talk about the causes. Then you're going to talk about the effects. And then you are going to talk about the components of National Landslide Risk Management Strategy. So if I sum it up, this apart from introduction and conclusion, this answer is going to have three main parts to the body. So there are very rare questions in which you have to write three parts, three subparts of an answer. So what are the causes of a landslide? Or for example, what is a landslide? What is a landslide? You guys have read NCRTs, right?
Sir, it's a mass sliding of the mountain slope or any large body.
Yeah, it is mass sliding, or you can say it's a form of a mass movement. That is also, you can say.
Yes.
It is a type of a mass movement, which is different. So what are the different kinds of mass movements? What are the
sliding,
different kinds of
sloping?
Yes.
One is sliding, so other is sloping.
Yeah. Okay. So you have read the NCRT chapter on mass movement.
Yes,
so
sir.
do go through that chapter, because it is very important to understand how an avalanche is different from a lava flow, leher, and how these things are important to understand. You should understand what is. Okay, fine. So once you understand what you have to do in introduction, what are the causes, and now you have to apply the same thing which I just talked about, categorization, because there would be n number of causes to a landslide. Landslide is one of those disasters which can be triggered by various factors. So there are geological factors, there are anthropogenic factors, then there are meteorological factors as well, and then there are topographical factors as well. So when it comes to geological factors, you know that if a region is tectonically very active, that is very prone to landslide or slope failure. All of us know why a landslide occurs. It occurs due to slope failure. So if this is a sloping surface, and if it fails to hold on to the components of the topsoil, landslide, the elements of the surface will start rolling down, and that is what a landslide is. But what are the conditions which cause the components of this particular slope to fall down? Can be various. If you increase the tilt of the slope, then this would become unstable. What are the factors which increase the tilt of a slope? Is an erosion by a river, by a water body, cutting, it keeps on cutting the downside, and so this region is not able to hold on to the pressure which the backside of this slope has. Similarly, there are a lot of other anthropogenic factors. For example, a highway construction, if you go to any Himalayan region or any other mountain, and if you are driving along the road, what you see is this structure basically, because of which the slope becomes unstable. So these are the reasons because of which then heavy rainfall takes away all the binding material which keeps the rock at a single place. So whenever you have, and so the reason of high landslide activity in Uttarakhand and Himachal Pradesh was very high intensity rainfall in the month of September, which took away the binding material, eroded away, taken away the binding material which have kept the rocks together, which then resulted in the landslide. So these are the different. What are the effects? I think effects are not very difficult to talk about for any disaster. They are going to be similar. but there are some peculiar effects associated with each and every disaster. So for example, when it comes to damage to infrastructure, earthquake comes at a #1 place. Cyclones are the least. When it comes to loss of life and liberty, life and property, earthquakes are #1, cyclones are least. And the reason is the level of predictability you have. And that what reduces the vulnerability. So when I talked about, when I covered disaster management, that is, there are various components in disaster management, starting with the risk assessment. So first you have to assess the risk, then monitoring, and so I will talk about it. So I think I'm digressing. So when it comes to effect, you have to talk about both long-term and short-term effect, especially in case of landslides. So what are the different kinds of effect a landslide might have? How are you going to cover it?
The immediate effect would be loss of life and property, sir.
Perfect. Yeah, loss of life and property. What would be the long-term impact?
Loss of
Blocking a
economic
river, blocking a river, which would eventually cause a glacial lake outburst flood or a flooding in downstream areas once it is broken. Yeah.
Devastation to agriculture.
the
Migration. Yeah.
Basically,
So, environment and infrastructure damage. So I think these are very well laid out points. What are the components of national landslide risk management strategy?
Also loss of connectivity between cities.
Loss of connectivity because of loss of infrastructure, damage to infrastructure.
Highways and
yeah. So the second part is national landslide risk management strategy. Now this is a very specific component to this answer, because you have to specify, because you can, if you apply your mind for 2 minutes, you can think of the effects. You can visualize a particular area where landslide took place, and then you can think of but this is not something which you can think of. So this is in reference to doubt. So if you know, you can think of only this part, it's fine. But do not unnecessarily write something about national landslide risk management strategy if you do not know about it. Although we will understand some of the tools through which you can predict certain points, because whenever it comes to disaster management, a lot of things are common in every disaster management. So for example, vulnerability zonation is something which you will do in case of earthquake as well. You would want to find out first is that which areas are vulnerable to earthquakes. Similarly, you would want to find out which areas are more prone to flooding, which areas are more prone to cyclones, which areas are more prone to glacial lake outburst flood. Vulnerability zonation is the first thing. Then comes mitigation or preparedness. So, but since this is a very specific term, if you did not know about it, you should not have written. So geological causes, morphological causes, physical causes, anthropogenic causes. So if you categorize the points, it looks like that your preparation is very good, and also the structure looks very good. So short term and long term. When it comes to national landslide risk management strategy, directly reproducing the points from national landslide risk management would be the best thing to do. And so conclusion. So this was something which was covered in the QIP as well. So causes of, I talked about causes. This is covered in your QIP as well. And landslide risk management strategy directly was discussed by me in the class. So that was something very, we were surprised. I did not include the landslide. So the earlier class which I took, I had shown this screenshot over there. I don't know why I did not include it here. So in the classes, we had discussed the landslide risk management strategy as well. Let me show it to you as well. Okay, so I think these are the 5 questions which we are going to take up today. If you have any doubt, we can take it up, but we are going to take up the rest of the questions tomorrow, which are 8 questions of geography. Yeah, if you have any doubt, please unmute yourself and ask. Please go ahead and ask. No doubts? None? Okay. So
Sir.
we'll end the. Yeah, go ahead.
सर वो अर्थक्वेक वाले में वो जोन 1 जोन 2 वल्नरेबिलिटी लिख सकते हैं या नहीं?
Zone 1, Zone 2 vulnerability तब लिख सकते थे when the question was directly about the asking to you about the vulnerability zonation of the country, but the question did not ask about the vulnerability zonation. Do you agree?
Yes sir. Okay.
Yeah, so since the question was not directly about the vulnerability zonation of the country, you should not be writing that.
Okay sir, thank you sir.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, wait a second. Yeah, this is the I don't know why I did not include the slide. So heat wave. Okay, I will show you tomorrow. That was, I don't know. Okay, no problem. Okay, so if there are no more doubts, we will end the session. We will gather tomorrow.
Sir,
Yeah.
one question. Sir, in that question of issues about federal structure, can we also mention the Teesta water, the river dispute
Perfect. Yeah, definitely. So
from the
that
state side?
yeah, definitely. That is something which you should mention, must.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Sir,
Yes.
sir, good. Am I audible, sir?
Yes, you are.
Yeah, sir. Good evening, sir. This is regarding the QAP class.
Yeah.
So I've just joined recently, and I've started watching your environment QAP classes. And I think there are 4 classes, and I couldn't find a material for the 4th class. So I just thought I could ask you.
Okay. If there is no material, you will get it updated. I will just talk to the person who is in charge of uploading all the material. That is something which you have brought. That's great. I will talk to that person and get it resolved.
Okay. Sir.
Thank you for letting me know. Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
All right. Okay. So if there are no more doubts, we will end the session and we will gather here tomorrow for geography discussion, GS paper 1.